tapping. Tap into your purpose. Tapping.
Okay.
Check it out. They act as if we see, no hear, no speak, no evil. They act as if we see, no hear, no speak, no evil. We tapping into purpose. Raw purpose. Raw purpose. We tapping into purpose. Raw purpose. Raw purpose.
Yo, Raw fam, it's your boy Zay.
And it's your boy Rashad.
And this is the Raw Purpose Podcast.
Yes, and we are right back at it because you already know what podcast.
Right, you already know what it is, right? This is the bonus one. We got to finish this conversation.
Yeah.
It got so good, we had to create a bonus one. It was so good, man. We got these beautiful ladies, these beautiful queens in here. We're talking about independent women, and we left off talking about the difference between a man that is raised by a single mom and a man that's raised by both parents, right? It seems like there's more flexibility in a man that has been raised by both parents compared to a man that has been raised by a single mother. It goes back to what we even talked about in part one about how these strong independent women raise their boys they raise them as if they're kings. Mm-hmm. And they don't understand that a king ain't a king without his own property and his land. He is only a prince because the queen is still the queen. He's a prince until he leaves, right? Even when I live, my family lived together this past year during the pandemic. We had plans to save money, pandemic blow that up, different things happened. We're still in a fruitful place, but I understood that once I entered into being in the living space as my father, that I became the prince. I understood that part. Most people don't. And because most people don't, you got to understand that now you become the prince and they're still trying to be the king. But if you got a kid that's just been taught he's the king, like, nah, sir. King comes with certain responsibilities.
Have the entitlement of the king.
Have the entitlement, right. So what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, most definitely.
Y'all say that's it.
And so that also, I'm going to go sideways a bit, then come back really quick, but it's going to stay on topic. So that has another thing that I have to tell people a lot, which is how I feel about the raising of my kids. Okay, there's that topic of, should you make your kids pay rent? So,
Wow.
when it comes to the hierarchy in the house and respecting it, no, I will not. My kids don't have to pay me rent as long as they're doing something positive with themselves that's helping them move into a direction where they can gain their independence to go out and have a wife and things of that nature, or a husband and things of that nature. And the reason why I don't let them pay rent is because also you give them the falsities that they now should have say-so of what goes on in your household.
Then they're a tenant at that point.
And they of course, so if I pay rent or if I pay for my car, you can't tell me what I do with my car. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that's why for this argument of how people are, should you make your kids pay rent? No, but what you should do if you feel as though that they need to have that responsibility because they still need to understand the responsibility of money, you need to make it to where they have a savings and they're saving towards that independence once they're out of your house. But what also happened is if you allow your kids to just live there and pay rent, are they ever going to get to that point to where they become independent to where they can start their own families? Or are they just going to stay there and continue to get that double sword? Like, I'm my mom's king if she's a single mother. Or, I'm still my parents' dependent, but I'm going to act grown when I want to type thing.
Yeah.
So.
That's huge. I'm glad you said that because before I say anything, is there anything you would like to add? Because
I don't have any kids,
but you are a kid though. So you are somebody's.
Yeah, I am.
But I think that's important, especially for those that does not understand that when you live under your parents, you're not independent. First and foremost, right? Even with myself, there is a level of independence. Now, I know for me, the reason why I made that decision, me and my family, was because I knew what was next.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not comfortable being in the space, but I respect the hierarchy. My dad's the king. My mom's the queen. I'm the prince. I back down, right, in terms of that. Then when I get, because if people understood how kingdoms worked, right, this is why they go and conquer other lands, and the son goes to that place that they conquered, and he becomes king of that space. And then when he comes back home, he becomes prince again.
Yep, there's no
That's true.
coexistence of two kings in one kingdom.
Right. So you have to,
True.
you have the maturity, but you have to be mature to understand that, because I've lived that experience of like, I watched my sister paying rent, so then there's like this say so, and then she's frustrated, and I'd be like, do understand, if he were to get sick, you can't take care of this. So it's just best for you to shut up and just figure out how you're gonna get out of here, right? One of the dopest things I heard a dad do, and this is what I plan on doing for my daughter, is I will charge rent. But what I will do with the rent is put it in a bank account.
Yeah.
And when they get when they get ready to move out, everything that you pay me is coming back to you.
So it's the same as making your kids accountable.
Absolutely.
Because my daughter is 14, other daughter is 18, and they still live at home. We help them because they're both work. Of course, my youngest daughter's still in middle school, but I'm in high school, but my oldest daughter is in college. So they know that when they get their paychecks, the money doesn't have to come to me. The money's going to go in that account. And we check that. And if for some reason you're not being, because I still need you to know how to save money when you're on your own. So that's why I'm giving you that independence. But if you can't do that and you're failing at that, then now I need you to give it to me so I can help you, because I'm not about to let you be willy-nilly out here and you working and you're not working towards anything. So I completely, I mean, but that's just that one thing about that independence, that where it is, and that also that argument of, oh, your kids shouldn't have to pay rent. And I agree with that to an extent. Like
I think the difference is
about.
Purpose. Really.
There you go.
Like, are they paying rent because you can't afford to live there either?
That
And
part,
I'm helping my parents provide? Or am I paying rent as like a business transaction? Is this
Absolutely
teaching me something?
Teach me responsibility.
Very different.
Right.
Because that's the key, is developing the responsibility in them. Right? Because it's like, like you've seen the I don't know if y'all seen the video of this dad who has just gotten sick and tired of his son not working, not finding a job, but he's playing video games. And the dad takes all the video games, the game system, puts them in the middle of the yard, gets in this big John Deere lawnmower, and runs over all of them. And the little boy, he's a little boy. He's sitting there, oh my God, I can't believe I hate you. And it's like, nah, bro, like, you grown. You ain't gonna be sitting in no basement, sitting there playing video games all day. Like, what this look like? You ain't going to work. You ain't. First of all, how'd you get it? Right? How'd you get all these games? But then it's like, yo, like, father.
How did y'all let him get there?
How'd you let him get there?
How did you? And this is the thing that I like. My issue with my 21-year-old. Like, if y'all go back and y'all listen to the first episode of this, like, literally, I'm at first for a while, when your kids don't have that, they're not on the track that you would like them to be on, you start as a parent questioning yourself, and you go back through their whole childhood of what you did, and you ask yourself, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Should I have done this more? Or should I have done that more? And I went through that for a while. My son, he did leave home, and he was living on his own. And then he came back, and he ain't want to do nothing. And it was like, I am not going to get up and go to work. And you just going to get up when you feel like it. Then you're going to go hang out with friends. This mentality that you want to be taken care of. Like you're 15, but you want to be treated like you're 20. Okay? And I told him we can't do that. So we got to a point to where I told him, you're going to either respect my household or you got to go. So guess what he had to do? He had to go. And now you're going to have to figure it out. And I told him, this is by no means me not saying I'm going to help you. I will help you whenever you are ready to help yourself.
There you go.
And it's very difficult. But again, parents will allow their kids to just stay in their house with no plan after high school.
Yep.
None at all.
Yep.
Zilch. And then years have passed by, and then they finally tired of it.
Yep.
No, from jump, me and him has this struggle, which is why he left home the first time, and he came back like, you gonna get it together? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it together. And then he didn't, and now guess what? You have burnt that bridge for a while.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be, you're gonna need to be independent on your own before you can come back and physically live with me.
Yep.
But I'll do whatever I can to help you.
Yep.
So not actually giving your kids that independence or nudging them a little bit towards that independence is doing them a disservice.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll even say, like, in my 20s, I lived at home, and people would always tell my dad, like, you need to kick him out. And my dad's like, man, my son's sitting here serving in church. My son is, you don't know who he's mentoring. You don't know who he's spending time with, and that he's helping grow. And he may not be where you think he should be, but I see what he's doing. And I'm always going to feed into it.
Yeah.
And then now the same people that were saying that, it's like they look stupid now that I'm married and taking care of my family. They're like, oh, it's like, nah, mind your business. Like, minding your business is free.
Step one.
Right? Understanding that my dad knows me. And he knows if I was being lazy, he'd be like, nah, son, you got to get off your butt and go do something. Right? He knew, like, once the wife and all that came, he knew that something was going to unlock in me to where, all right, I can't be. Now, there are moments where I had lazy moments, right? Now you can't do that with a wife and a child. You got to figure that out.
Gotta be present. Yeah.
Right? You got to, and that's why it's important for parents to know their children and know what they need, and you have to, like, self-start, right? And then we also, this whole, like, again, talking about this independent, even for men, this, we live in a totally different society than our parents did. Our parents were able to do a whole lot more with less money. Today, right? People are like, why are you staying at home with your mom? Have you seen how much rent and mortgages are right now?
Housing prices. We had that conversation with Shawty. Housing prices is like through the roof. You can't, and I mean, even they talk about the kids graduating college and then moving back in with their parents. Like, again, like we had that conversation too. Salaries are like flat. Like they're flat.
They're terrible.
They have not changed. I mean, people in the 90s we're making the same amount of money we're making now, and inflation has risen. So you're not able to be, and I mean, a lot of them, you leave your parents' house at 18 to go to college, and you're finding that independence, and you're living on campus, and you're doing all of this. And I'm pretty sure a lot of them kids, they do not want to go back home because you've had that independence for so long, and you feel like you've grown and you had that space to grow and develop. You're not ready to go back home and be up under your parents. You're not. You want to be on your own, but a lot of people, they can't do that. They just can't. So,
and even with that, some kids that go out and try to force it, and then we wonder why our generation is dealing with so much anxiety and depression. And it's because, honestly, we're like, yo, y'all lied to us, right? You told us to go to school, get good grades, go to college, and we will make good money. And then you're finding that, like, these mid-level jobs are requiring a bachelor's, but they're only paying $17, $18 an hour. Like, who can live off that?
And this is the point in which society has changed a lot, and we're still trying to live to the same rules of the old one. And we're not living to the new age one. That's why you see old businesses failing and new ones thriving, because they decided that they wanted to adapt. And you can't, like, in this day and age, if you going to college, you better darn well know what you're going for. You better make sure that you have researched and looked in and planned, because by the time you come out of college, if you have to have student loans, you can't even begin to even start thinking about the independence, because, like you said, Zay, $17, $18 an hour for a bachelor's degree. Who? How can you pay rent that's $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month?
And the crazy thing is, you get a master's, they only want to pay $20
They
an
like,
hour.
yeah.
That's like,
And then you got the
Man, that's
student loans
robbery.
that's looking at you like,
Right.
you better figure it out.
Yep.
And so that's where
Yep.
society is mixed matched, where that independence we all so much want to gain,
Yep.
we also can't get because of that level
Yep.
of being an adult.
And then we tie it into this part too, that the parents were so busy giving the kid what they didn't have as children
They forgot
that
to
they
give
didn't
what they did.
they didn't prepare for the future.
That part.
Yeah.
Right,
That
and
part.
putting like if you put just imagine if you put $100 a month aside for your child every year. I mean not every year, every month. $100 a month over an 18-year span. You have a decent amount, especially if you put in an account that grows. First of all, we don't have financial literacy in the black community.
We do not.
But
Bingo.
and honestly, we could say even in the white culture, majority of them don't have
They either.
financial education.
Yeah.
Right?
Like it's honestly it's an American. I
Yeah.
can't really even say it's an American thing, but it's more like people like to think that it's just the black community. And I watched what's his name on this? It's not. It's parents are not equipped and they don't know how to talk to their kids about financial literacy.
Yep.
They often think it's not age appropriate, and then when they do think it's age appropriate, they're going through so many other things with the child that they don't think that's the right time either. And then before you know it, they're adults and they're trudging through life and they have no idea. And so that is a really big issue. And in most token in our community, my mom couldn't even afford to save $10 a month for and so.
And then here's the sad part to that there's a group of people I know that the mom has 7 kids. She lost the house, and I was like, okay, how is it that all of y'all are educated? All 7 you guys could not have pulled your resources together to save the house. And that was like baffling to me. And they're a generation and a half from us. And I was just looking at that like I don't understand that. So why, if y'all are all educated, you keep pushing me to go to that, and y'all can't even take care of your mom, and there's 7. There's a difference if there's just 1 child or 2, but there's 7 of you, and y'all can't pull your resources together. That baffled me, and it's like it helps me understand. People are like, get educated, and it's like we gotta decipher the difference between being indoctrinated and educated. It's 2 totally different things.
Seriously.
Right? Going to college and some black people might feel that this is blasphemy, but I'm gonna say it. HBCUs and PWIs all indoctrinate you in their different cultural differences. Now, for HBCU, you may get it from the black side, and you'll get some entrepreneurship. And honestly, there's like a few that catch on to that part, but most are, say, like you go to college to get a job. If you get a job at 18 and you can grow in the company, right, from an entry level, even working at like McDonald's, and you can work through being the general manager, then you become the regional manager, then right, if you could do right, if you go on that path, but most people poo-poo because they can't see the end for the beginning. Right? You can't see. I remember doing electrical work, and I started off at $11 an hour. And I was like, oh, man, my goal is to because once you get 5 years in, you get $26 an hour, right? So you keep trying to save the money. It's like, nah, I ain't passionate about this. This is not what I want to do. The money no longer drives you. You got to figure out what is that purposeful thing in your life that you should pursue. Because the money, like you said, it's easy to make money. Right? The challenge is being disciplined with what you make. It's easy to make it, and you have to develop you in order to generate it. But most parents, they fell into that line, and then they're in student loan debt, right? Yeah. And so they can't help you. They didn't prepare for college. So like when people looked at me when I dropped out, because I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm 20,000 in. I'm gonna stop the bleeding now. Compared to I look at my sister who has a master's, got much more debt than I, and she like the jobs that she's getting or that are open to her are not comparable for the education she got.
Yeah,
And I'm
I mean,
like,
I see that completely. My uncle was telling me, "Oh, April, you should go back and you should finish your degree." And granted, I'm kind of being rebellious with it a bit because of the classes that they wanted me to take when I really only needed one. They wanted me to take a set, and I'm like, "Do you know how much money that is going to cost
and
me
you
just to
pay
do that
for
again?" So I'm like, oh, I'm rebellious, and I don't have a lot of credits left that I need, and maybe I will go back. Who knows? I don't know. But at this point, I'm like, it's not worth it because they always tell you don't have more student loans out of school when you graduate than you would make your first year out. So I've already surpassed what I will make with my degree, and I'm not even in my field. I've way surpassed that.
wow.
So it's like I'm not going to. I'm not. What is my incentive to go in and go finish this? Like, I'm already independent in my standing. I'm already doing what it is that I need to do. I can now go out and you could literally educate yourself for free on almost
That's what we live
anything except for like being a doctor or aerospace engineer or something like
exactly.
that. Like,
Exactly.
But you can just about educate yourself on anything. If you live in Cobb County, go to Cobb County Library and get you some free stuff. But like literally, so
I don't want to jump on an airplane that was built by someone that so like nah, you need to go to school for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to be a doctor or some type of surgeon or doing anything aerospace or you going like lawyering. I mean, even for lawyers, they need that certain. Like I get it. Yeah. But when you're going for certain type of things, which is why they say, like fact, our grandparents were able to save more money. They had more money at our ages now, at their ages saved than we do, and that's for all communities, not just the Black and Hispanic or people of color. That's for all communities. That's because guess what? It wasn't a business to put people in college back then. So a lot of people didn't even go to college. They left high school. They went straight to school. You know how many people I know became nurses and they learned it on a job? Like that's why. That's why they're like that. And companies right now, and I was telling Rashad, this is happening now because of everything that has happened with COVID and the big, great resignation. Companies are now willing to take you with any type of degree, entry level, and teach you because now you don't need them as much as they need you. So take advantage of that, and that's a bit, and that could turn the wheels a bit for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing is there anything you would like to?
We've been doing it wrong for a long time.
Long time.
And I'm proud of this generation for trying to figure a lot of the things out when it comes to ownership versus paid education. Like or higher education as far as colleges are concerned, because you can pay for education in a specific thing that you're interested in that'll help you go further. That's really cool.
Absolutely. And then it's like you think about what's the thought with parents. Good grief, what was? I've been having too many of these moments.
Right, get some
we're getting older.
Right. Man. So we're talking about education.
Just having
probably our family back in the day, how they had certain types of money saved
and they don't.
But it's like
we don't now.
But what we did with it, how did it transition to the generations is the problem also.
Yeah, definitely. Generational wealth is definitely in our community. Like that's one of my bigger things too. Like honestly, I'm not a person that needs physical things to make me feel good. So to me right now, it's easy for me to live and find my happiness. My goal is generational wealth. I want whatever it is that I do now to at least touch my next 3 to 4 generations. that is a goal for me. That is a life goal for me. I don't need no super big expensive house. I don't need no expensive car. I need that the hard work that I do and the work that I put in my lifetime to be able to make an impact on my generations to come.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is not it, but we didn't put enough in trades, right? So now we're out of trades. People are not going into trades, and that's what it was. So they're not going into trades, understanding that generates that consistent money to where now you can pay for college.
Yeah.
Like if I ever decide to go to college to get a degree, I'm paying out of pocket for it. I'm not taking a loan and paying interest on. By the time you finish paying interest, you've paid for that degree 3 times over, right?
Ridiculous.
But this is the part I was trying to remember. Another part, a lot of parents don't teach their kids networking skills, so when they get to school, they can network.
Oh, baby,
really
you bet that's life. That's life. That's life, and I've had to tell people. So let me tell you something. Networking with the right type of people, and we all have done job applications where they ask that question. On it.
Who do you know?
Do you think that it's who you know that gets you somewhere, and most people say no because they know that's the right answer to say. But we all know because let me tell you, my apartment complex. Side note, I ain't gonna say where I live at, but they redoing our apartment complex, and basically they need a project manager, and baby, she does not know how to project manage. I have friends that are project managers, and when I tell you it is bad, it is bad. So you know that she knew somebody. You know.
Even be mad.
And like you said, it's about who you know and not what you know, right? And if you teach your kid, because you could be like, if you don't network and you're just like, I'm going to college party, right? Hard. And not understanding that the very kid sitting next to you, his dad is the CEO of the company of what you want to go for. Right. So now you have a relationship, not saying you're using them, but you find out, and you guys become super close to where now you go spend a holiday with them, and the parents fall in love with you, and the dad's like, yo, when you graduate, come see me. And then you jump into a job that's paying you well, and because your character, because that's the other part.
Yeah,
that's the character. Right, I always say your character will keep you places that your talent can't.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
Right, there are people that are not talented that are in great positions because of their character. Yeah, and they were able to grow and learn.
And they're learning.
And their talent, then they grow in the talent, and now they become super dope because their character got in the room. So that's and again, this shoots down this whole idea of independent woman, independent man. It kills that because you have to network. Because your net worth is determined by your network, right? It's a popular saying, and it's like we all need each other. That's why I hate when I hear people say you're a self-made millionaire. It's impossible to be a self-made millionaire because you need customers to buy anything. You have no customers, so you're not self-made. You might be self-driven. You might be a self-driven millionaire, but you're not a self-made millionaire.
And I can't think of but statistically, your income is the median income of your closest, I think, 10 friends, I want to say. So with that being said, that should tell everything right there, that you are who your friends are. So when you also going to college is not just getting that degree, like you said.
Right.
It is networking and also researching. Like, you got to know where you want to go when you leave there. Because I know so many people that they are overeducated and they are not being valued. They're not making the money at which they are valued at all. So you definitely have to know where you're going. And literally, just like I agree with you, just being able to, hey, if y'all want to do real estate, let me go take a real estate class. Not let me go all the way through college and get this degree and then go take a real estate class when I know that now, like, what's your return? And you know what, that's for my life now more than anything, and I hate to say this, and sometimes it's not always it's not a bad thing for me, but I just look at it, what is my return on everything in my life? What is the return that I'm getting out of this? Because again, my time is valuable, and whether that be in personal relationships or professional relationships or whatever it is that I decide I'm gonna do in my life, job and everything, what is my return from this? And I don't like negative return. I'm pretty sure nobody does it. So you better make sure you know what it is.
Right.
Nah, seriously, and today, the EQ is over IQ. You gotta have some emotional intelligence to really make your way through the world and have some success over not only just having just a good IQ.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exposing that to people who are big on the IQ, dependent on just the university and the scholastics and the academia to make their way in the world. But like we were just talking about, that network is everything. So if you know how to connect with people, talk to people, bend people to your will, and still give them something in return, and build some type of relationship, you can get anywhere that you want to be in life. And
like they said,
and you gotta know what you want.
Hiring the people with the IQ.
And
exactly.
Like our independence,
and dumping the IQ people.
Our independence is definitely, like in this day and age, I know so many kids that they do not know how to communicate. The communication portion of our kids, and that's what I think is made millennials so kind of successful and branch out and do this thing. We got caught in the sweet spot of society in a sense. We had a little bit of the social media, but we were all still raised without all of it too. Yep. Mm-hmm. So we were that generation that got caught in that sweet spot. Yep. But our kids, the kids that are coming up and that's been raised with all of that, their communication skills, they're so bad. Yeah. And people, but even on top of us that's older, I realized that in the dating thing, independence also means knowing how to communicate. Yep. And people will literally not communicate with you because they feel like, oh my God, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And it's not that you're going to hurt a person's feelings, but you need to be able to know how to express what it is that you're trying to say. To me, you can say anything you need to say. It's just how you say it. And so not being able to communicate is also one of them things that it may not be a major role, but it has a lot. It means a lot when it comes to that independence and gaining that independence. People don't know how to communicate, and it seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah, Sonja, you had a big reaction.
No, I just agree.
Why? Why?
Yeah, why so much?
On which part? I don't even.
Just communication. You said just.
No, it is really important.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's a part of being independent because on the opposite side, someone would have to communicate for you. And you really don't want someone speaking for you or saying what it is that you want done for your life or for yourself because they could get it wrong.
Facts.
And if you're just going to go with it, then
facts.
Where would you end up?
For real. For real.
Facts. That's real. It's real. And that's when manipulation comes into play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That's the win.
And that's what's kind of caused this whole independent woman, independent man conversation is because we've allowed other people to think for us that then once we wake up, then it's like, oh, I can do this myself and I don't need nobody, right? It's the whole you overcorrect. Right? Like if you just watch the world, right? Something tragic happens or something happens and they swing totally to the other side and then it has to find that sweet spot, right? To where it's balanced. And that's what, typically it's like this, then it's like it goes back to the people that you say they're lost forever. They go all the way over here, not understanding, I got to do some work because I got to get to the middle because the middle is that sweet spot, right? Because like you said, us as millennials, we've seen 2 recessions. Our highlight of our high school years was 9/11. And then we saw the economy crash as we're entering the marketplace. So we understood, we got to do something different.
We seen the job market just go
Crash,
bad.
crazy.
Yep.
We coming out of college at this time, can't find jobs. We have, that's my other thing. That's why I say this, and I say this a lot as a single woman. Society needs to really stop telling men that they're not a man if they're not making a certain amount of money.
Absolutely.
Because it is not allowing them to grow in other areas and to become mature, especially emotionally mature in certain areas, because society is telling them in order to really be a man and get your independence, you got to make a certain amount of money, because if you don't, nobody's going to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? It's still a lot of men that don't make a lot of money out here married. So stop,
absolutely.
stop.
A lot of big kids with a lot of money.
And the women have to stop believing the lie that a man that doesn't make 100 or six figures or more can't support. Because typically, those men are so solid in themselves and in their foundation, they'll give you the things that money can't buy. And you're chasing money. And when you understand it, and this ties in the whole, this is why like marriage is important, is marriage is where most of the wealth is created. Yeah. People don't talk about it. So even if both of y'all start at, let's say he's at 60,000 and you're at 40,000, that's $100K for the household. If you manage that right, you steward it right, you can live like a king. Yeah. You have to learn how to manage it, and you have to learn how to grow it. That's $100K. If you just save 10 to 15% of that over a 10-year period, you'll have $100K sitting somewhere that now you can do real estate investing. You can make big moves.
Start that business and have it be debt free. It like literally, like back to what you said, that man can give you money, the things that money can't buy. Because again, money is easy to give. It's that energy. Like that's why the men that's out here that you chase after that got that money. That's why he got like 4 women. Because guess what? They think money is value. And I have heard some women say, "Oh well, if a man spend his money on you, he think like to a certain,
he's just trying to smash you."
Let's be honest. Money is easy. If he's making money,
if he got
it's easy to him. It's nothing. That time, that compassion, that physicality, that learning you, like out of the blue, I'll literally do this when I be dating. I would have had this conversation with somebody I was dating, and I'll ask them out of the blue, "How many brothers and sisters did I tell you I had?" Let me tell you something. What's my birthday? What was my favorite color? Because this is going to tell you how much they're really real investing in you is.
Me and Rashad had this conversation about someone we know, and we know that he attracts women with his money, right? And people can't stand him, right? But I was like, him and I could pull more chicks than he could for the simple fact that we know how to communicate and we know how to make them laugh, right? If you make them laugh, the money doesn't matter.
Because you turning on that part of the brain that actually moves and excites you. Absolutely. Make you happy. She's going to feel like you're giving her that attention. This is why men that are very charismatic in a sense, this is why they tend to have women gravitate towards them so much. I have a friend whose guy is like that, and he's just that type of person, and the women always think that he wants to. Right.
And it's like, no, I'm just a nice guy.
It's funny. But
and it's.
Agreed.
So, good conversation. So, takeaways. This whole independent thing is a stupid notion, right? We all need somebody, right? We all need someone to love. We all need someone to help us get to where we are. Right, like we don't become who we are without the people around us. So we have to get rid of this independent thing and just understand that we're just growing. We have to stop competing against each other and complement each other. That's when true growth happens. So as you're out there in the dating market, if you're married, even understand that you have independence in yourself, but there is interdependence in the marriage, right? And you got to understand the difference. Understand that the man, the woman, the wife, husband, father, mother, speak different languages. You got to understand what season you're in, what space you're in, right? You got to understand that you have to think with purpose as you're getting into dating relationships, as you're in marriage, right? And then if you're in a marriage that's rocky, go get counseling so that you can grow the marriage. And then at the basis of everything, for me at least, I'll speak for me, I just see what God does is God is your foundation in all these things. He will build upon all of those things. If you make him the foundation, he will take care of everything you need. Even when it looks bleak in the season, right? It's going to change if you just keep pursuing, you keep walking. It says, in due season you will reap if you faint not. So in your season of struggle, appreciate, steward what God gave you, and then watch what he does with your life and everything. So ladies, last word. Sonja, we'll let you get the last word. I mean, you start the last word, and then we'll close this out.
Nothing is easy. That's what this conversation has. I mean, we kind of already know that, but I appreciate you all's perspective, especially someone with children or a married person. But it doesn't get easier, and it's more so you just have to maneuver, try to figure out what it is that you want to do, but how you're gonna do it. Yeah. In all things. So.
Good stuff. April.
Just to touch on what she said, nothing worth having is easy. But always measure the risk and reward. I just think it's okay to have that independence because we all have that independence. But to have those independent black strong woman titles put onto a woman is not definitely not something in my older, mature age now. Even though I may have wanted it when I was younger, now it's not something that I strive to want to have or have someone say to me. I want that connection. I want that oneness with whomever God has for me as my husband. But I just think don't look at it as, we independence is going to come the moment you're no longer up under your parents or whomever it was that raised you. But just move towards whatever that success is and continue to keep down on that spiritual walk with God. I promise you, he will take you exactly to where you need to be, even if it looked bleak, because I've been at that point where it looked bleak. And I was like, oh, I don't know what God doing, but maybe I need to try to drive myself. And he snatched the wheel back from me and was like, be patient. And I ended up exactly where I needed to be. So just have the faith, trust in God, and, by faith, not by sight.
Yeah, I think it should just be a push away as far as man and woman of being independent and, I got this, and just coming together interdependently, saying that we're independent from the influence of the system, from being dependent on the system that has been trying to take away what we've built, what we want to build, what we want to, raise and impact on generations to come from now. So that's the only thing that I would say as far as independence. Let's work together as a marriage, a family, a community to become independent from the system, from the America that is tearing down our families, that is not helping us, from the school system, the government system, the medical system, all that type of stuff that is not helping us, that is falling now. We need to build our nuclear family and community up so that we can strive and be interdependent upon each other under God, not really needing. Because like you said earlier, manipulation. And we've been manipulated for too long as a people because we've been dependent on the system. So, independent this, independent that, as far as individuals, we know that's not going to work. We got to come together. We all that we truly got, and let's be independent from the enemy, the system, everything that comes against what God wants to build. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. So thank you for listening to this bonus episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the whole conversation from part 1 to now. Hope something was said that encourages you, that uplifts you, that gives you enlightened, that educates you, that helps you strive to be better. This is the Raw on Purpose podcast, the raw, authentic self, pursuing the God-given divine purpose that God placed in your life. And so we hope these nuggets helped you, encouraged you. Again, follow us on Instagram, Raw on Purpose _ you can find us on Facebook at Raw on Purpose. You can find us on YouTube. Hit the subscription button. Hit that notification bell. Comment, like, share. somebody you know can use this information to help them grow. And we're streaming on all podcasting platforms at Raw on Purpose. And I'm sorry, the YouTube channel is Raw on Purpose Podcast. So hope something was said. Thank you for joining us. Remember, this is Marriage and Family series. Tune in for the next one. Until then, it's your boy Zay.
And it's your boy Rashad.
And this is the Raw on Purpose Podcast.
Keep tapping in.
Tapping, tapping. Tap into your purpose. Tapping, tapping. Check it. They act as if we see, no hear, no speak, no evil. They act as if we see, no hear, no speak, no evil. We tapping into purpose. Raw on purpose.